The world might feel a bit more chaotic and a bit more divided. It's easy to forget sometimes that there are constants. Your home's still your home, your family's still your family, and all the structures of our society are still there to look after you if you need it.
Here we go. George's resource.
Adult male, code red trauma, 10 minutes.
Activate the helipad.
There's been an explosion on a building site.
Heart rate 200.
Open your eyes, open your eyes.
Imagine having to work here.
Hello, Annie, can I help?
St George's, London.
It's all gonna kick off now.
One of Britain's busiest A&E departments.
Are we ready to roll?
Carry on CPR.
Oh, goodness me, it's all happening, isn't it?
We need to fix that, or you won't survive.
Is it?
A place where life,
Would you say I was fit, Doctor? Honestly, I think I'm quite fit.
love,
You are my everything. I love you, and it's okay.
and loss
Oh, Mum. I'm so sorry.
unfold every single day.
For every bad thing that you see, there is something equally wonderful out there.
Filmed across one 24-hour period, these are the stories of a nation and its health service.
I thought I was going to die.
You're definitely not going to die. You've got too many good doctors and nurses here.
When people experience really significant illness or injuries, we see people pull together, we see relationships get stronger, and we see people reflect on what really is the most important things in their life.
Whatever happens, it's going to be okay.
I love you.
Love you too.
My mum was that force of nature. She was a superstar in her field. You would always know when she walked into a room. I mean, she's 5'9", she's blonde, she plays the saxophone. And the fact that my mum is no longer able to do the thing that defines her, I think it's a tragedy, really.
George's resource. Medical trauma. Go ahead. Here, 15, 16. Thank you. Adult protocol ETA, 12 minutes.
A 74-year-old woman is being rushed to St George's with a dangerously high heart rate. The woman's daughter is making her way to the hospital.
We were supposed to be going out that evening to Ronnie Scott's. I was getting myself ready and I got a call. My mum had been out in the village and she had quite a major feeling of wanting to faint. The local pharmacist took her blood pressure. They found the readings unbelievable and then just phoned an ambulance.
When we attend a patient who's experiencing dizziness, has a fast heart rate and a low blood pressure, that may indicate atrial fibrillation.
Anything incoming?
There's a fast AF on its way in.
AF is atrial fibrillation, and it's an electrical abnormality in the bottom two chambers of the heart. The dangers are that the major organs are not getting enough oxygen. It can be tiring for the heart. The potential risks could be heart attack or even death. It's a time-critical patient. We need to get them to hospital. Barbara, this is where you're going to be for the next little bit. On three. 1, 2, 3. That's beautiful. Okay. This is 74-year-old Barbara. The last 2 days she's been feeling dizzy. She went to the pharmacy today with her carer.
Thanks.
And that was her ECG. She has talked about arrhythmias, but there's no obvious diagnosis of any fast AF, so we're treating it as a new onset. No pain, just dizziness. They did a blood pressure at the pharmacy, it was 146/37. Otherwise, all of her obs are largely okay. Parkinson's is her only current medical problem. Her pulse is a little bit weak and thready, has been throughout.
Okay.
Keep booked in, Barbara, all right? You take care.
Thank you.
Well, hello.
Hello.
My name's Faisal, I'm one of the doctors. What's been happening?
I've been getting spells of being very dizzy.
Okay.
And I had it, there's 5 years I had it yesterday and today.
So we'll quickly see your heart, all right? So your heart is going fast. We need to give you some medicine to slow it down a little bit.
Whenever the phone goes, with her in her frail state, there's this terrible fear. Is this the phone call?
Gonna do a little blood test, darling. Is that all right?
Fine.
Okay, sweetheart, nice and still.
Parkinson's sufferer Barbara is in resus with an elevated heart rate, having become dizzy whilst out shopping.
If you're into jazz and you're of a certain age, you would know who Barbara Thompson is. She's one of the most respected jazz saxophonists and composers in this country for sure. She worked with Andrew Lloyd Webber. She played at a surprise party for the Queen, and Lady Di was there.
This gentleman's going to take a picture of your chest, my love.
Right.
All right. OK, sweetheart, that's the blood's done. All right. Just going to give you some fluids into this line as well, just to see if it brings your heart rate down.
It was the late 60s, early 70s. She definitely had to prove herself more than a man would. So when she turned up at a gig, you know, there were times where it would be like, you know, make us some tea, love. But then once she played, she put them firmly in their place.
Do you have any questions, my love?
No, you just answered them.
That's good, isn't it?
She was doing it in a time where it was almost unthinkable to be a female band leader.
Hard wall behind your back, sorry about that.
My dad was also a fellow musician. I was about 4 and my dad joined my mum's band.
Breathe in, hold your breath.
And it kind of, for a while, made them household names. They were both virtuoso instrumentalists, my dad on drums, my mum on saxophone and flute. My dad built a studio which enabled their careers really to take off. And they started being able to do film and TV music. They recorded the title theme to A Touch of Frost, which everyone will have heard. Music definitely was their life and their obsession. They went on to do everything together. But I guess life wasn't meant to be easy.
We're just going to try and get an ECG. I'm going to get you to try and relax for me. I know the movement is difficult. That's better. Print that. Well done.
Oh, what's Lizzie done? She's a garden party at the palace.
Oh, doesn't she look super?
Isn't that gorgeous?
Gosh, yes, I bet that cost a
fortune. William and Kate.
Yeah. Oh, isn't that lovely? They'll make a very nice king and queen,
yeah,
won't
they will.
Another sports injury.
Another one.
61-year-old Susie has come to A&E after being bitten on her hand.
It's all the people trying to keep fit have ended up in A&E. I went on a dog walk and I'd noticed one of the front doors open but didn't think anything of it. Suddenly there was a dog and it just was like a torpedo coming towards my dog. The dog grabbed his leg and then he shook my dog. I needed to try and get the dog off, and then that's how I was bitten, because my dog was in such a state that he bit my hand. Hello? Well, first of all, I dealt with my dog. I took the dog to the vet. Oh, hello, yes, hello. Oh, it does. Oh, no. So where exactly is the break? In the joint itself? Shit. Yeah. And then a friend took me to A&E because I couldn't drive because it's my left hand. OK, thank you. Bye, bye.
Nina? Yes?
No, I've been trying to help you because I know you don't want it.
I could do my phone.
Well, you... Give me here.
It's done now. I'm not doing any more. My dog is called Sydney, and he's a Norfolk Terrier, which is a little hairy brown thing. Yes, definitely a bond between us. I love dogs, and he gets me out walking, good for exercise. When you have a dog, you can meet people. Oh, God. 6 weeks of not being able to go for a walk. But how's he going to do a poo?
You just carry him out and you put him on the grass.
Yeah.
Or just put the nappy on the pool.
Yeah. Poor dude. As an army child, my childhood was going from England to Germany, Germany to England, school to school, living in boxes. Don't remember really seeing many other children of my age. So I'm quite jealous of people who've lived in the same area all their life because they've got a lot of group of friends around them that they've had since childhood.
Susanna!
Oh. Yay! Yay! Hi.
Hi, come in, sweet.
Thank you.
I'll get it. That's it.
I'm Vicky, one of the practitioners. Nice to meet you.
Hi.
How can we help you?
I've been bitten on the hand by a dog.
By a dog? Oh, no. Your dog?
My dog and I were walking in the garden and suddenly a staffy came out and attacked my dog.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
My dog has got a broken leg and a huge gash in his groin. And while I was trying to help him, and he bit my hand.
Bit your hand. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. It's really sad.
As a child, it was very traditional family setup. Children are seen and not heard. You do as you're told. I'm quite shy, but as a teenager, I became a bit more rebellious and wanting to do my things.
Are you friends or neighbours?
Yeah,
or
friends.
We were thrust together through our children.
Oh.
They were both at the same school.
Oh, were they? Oh, so you've known each
Yeah.
other a long time.
She's insinuating we're old.
Oh, definitely not at all.
I didn't feel rebellious. I just wanted to do things different, not to be traditional. Do something well out of my comfort zone.
I'm so sorry. It's okay. We'll get you sorted.
And then in 1985, I was at a party. A drunk guy said, let's canoe all the way down the Amazon. And I thought, cool, I'd love to do that. So that's what we did. But I still think we were mad to do it.
So we're going to x-ray it, make sure everything underneath is okay,
Yeah.
make sure there's nothing in it. Once you've had your x-ray, just come back and find me. all
Okie
right?
doke, thank you.
Georges.
Yeah.
Okay. Edie. Adult male priority call ETA 20 minutes. The first AF plus slurred speech with no non-set time.
The 79-year-old man who suffers from atrial fibrillation is being rushed to St George's, having woken up unable to move his right leg.
Atrial fibrillation is a condition of the heart where the heart muscle doesn't pump properly. Because the blood isn't moving properly, clots can form and then break off and get sent up into the brain, which can cause a stroke.
It's been seen normal at 2 o'clock, that's the last time, but they don't know the onset time.
You have a period of about 4.5 hours to try and improve the symptoms of the stroke. But if somebody wakes up having had a suspected stroke, you don't know when the patient first started having their symptoms, things are definitely time critical.
Is everyone happy? Cool, John, lift. Ready, brace, lift.
John has gone for an afternoon nap at about 2 o'clock, and when he's woken up, he's found that he's unable to get up out of the chair due to right leg weakness. When we've arrived, there is significant weakness to the right leg, and it feels cooler than the left leg. He's in fast AF, up to 150.
Does he know that he has AF?
Yes.
John.
Just gonna sit you up a bit, dear, okay?
I'm sorry?
Sit you up because you're hanging down.
Oh, yes, please. I was longing to be more up than that. You could have been reading my thoughts.
Ready?
Yeah.
Ready, steady.
Whoa, whoa.
Ready, steady, up.
Wee-hee.
Beautiful.
Thank you, folks.
Hi. Is it John?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Sam. I'm one of the doctors. What's brought you to hospital today?
My leg. I had lunch, light lunch. I sat back in the chair, and when I woke up, I couldn't move my right leg at all. Absolutely not at all. So I couldn't get out the chair.
Okay. Any drooping of your face?
No.
Or change in sensation of your
Not
face?
that I know of.
Can I quickly examine you?
Oh,
Would that be
absolutely.
Okay. Can you keep your head nice and still for me? And just follow my finger with your eyes.
Shall I take my glasses?
Yeah. Just follow my finger with your eyes. Okay. Arms out like chicken. Push down into my hands. It's fine. Push up into my hands. Now for the legs, okay? You both at the same time?
Oh.
Okay, yeah, a bit weaker there. Okay.
Yeah.
So I've spoken to the stroke registrar. They have ordered a CAT scan of your head, okay? So we will be doing another scan of your head and the blood vessels in your neck as well. And then they'll come back with it to you with the results, okay? A CT scan of the head and neck will enable us to see if there's something going on in the brain, be that a clot causing a stroke or a bleed. Treatment for a stroke is time critical.
So, John, what we're going to do is slide you across onto this bed, okay?
Yeah, I'll do my best to be patient. Ready? Let's slide.
John is having a CT scan to establish if he's suffered a stroke.
So we just need to take your glasses off and stay absolutely still for the next 2 minutes, please.
I go to sleep.
Yeah, you can.
I was born on the 5th of January 1940 in Yorkshire, in a village which only had probably 30 houses or something. My mother was from the coal mining background, and my dad was building site working. They weren't wealthy. There weren't many opportunities for people like me growing up. When I was 12, there was a chap with an Oster, single-engined high-wing monoplane, who was doing sightseeing trips from just outside of Bridlington. My uncle, John, asked me if I would go along with him in the back seat, and I curled up in the back seat, and we took off.
Lovely.
We flew over there at about 1,000 feet, and wow, I'm on cloud 9.
Okay, John, all done. Well done.
A beautiful day, and I'm looking at the ground from the airplane for the first time. I felt like I was in a Spitfire, you know? I was a young kid with imagination. Well, that was a new experience.
Not the most comfortable.
Nothing like that had ever happened to me before. I'd had no feeling to compare it to, and I was won over. That was it. That's why I wanted to be a pilot. It was 20 minutes that changed my life. Thank you very much, guys.
Welcome and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I found it a bit scary.
It was, yeah.
What happened exactly?
It's so embarrassing. Went over to my sister's house just across the road, and her baby was there, and we were all playing around, and the baby put her foot like up towards her mouth, and my sister said, "Oh, can you do that?" And I put my foot all the way up, and it just went crunch.
Oh dear. All right. Did you manage to get your foot up to your mouth like a baby?
Yeah.
All right, well,
Yeah, pretty flexible, but my sister's a doctor as well, who I was with, and she was like,
Let's have a look at it at the time. What was her impression?
she thought I'd split my trousers.
Right.
How are we doing, sweetheart?
Doctors have given Barbara fluids and medication in an attempt to control her high heart rate.
What's happening now?
I'm just going to give you some more fluid, sweetie, because your blood pressure's a bit on the low side.
Blood pressure is on the low side.
We're waiting for the medical team to come and see you.
I was on tour with both my parents in Germany. This was in my early 20s. And I remember in the dressing room, my mum saying to my dad, John, the keys on my flute are sticking. And he said, no, darling, I fixed those for you yesterday. It was all looking fine to me. And she was going, but something's wrong. And it wasn't the flute, it was her fingers. And they were actually losing their dexterity. Also, she would kind of freeze up. We thought it was a frozen shoulder for a while. Was it repetitive strain syndrome? We had loads of tests. It took quite a few years to find out what on earth was going on. Finally, she was diagnosed with Parkinson's.
Barbara's daughter, Anna, has now arrived at St George's.
You all right?
Playing the piano.
Sorry?
I was playing the piano.
Playing the piano?
Yeah. In my sleep.
In your sleep? Have you spoken to anyone?
Just to Marcus.
Okay.
What I've got is what he's had.
Atrial fibrillation and something like a cardiac block.
Yes. It's quite serious. It's dehydration. Can cause it.
She wanted to keep the diagnosis secret. She felt that if people thought she had something like that, then it might end her career. Especially while she felt able to keep going. So have you had anything?
I had half a sandwich, which was awful.
Awful? Was it an NHS sandwich?
Yes, it's awful.
Oh, bloody hell. We just knew it was degenerative, but my parents are so positive. They had on the NHS one of the best neurologists and experts in the world. And he enabled her to get the kind of drugs that were given to her intravenously, which meant she could go on stage and play. I should have brought you too.
I can get a bus from outside the hospital.
Your mum, you are not getting a bus. No one's going to let you get a bus anywhere tonight. There were times where she was on stage and this drug gave her nausea. She'd have to kind of wait for a piano solo and walk off and throw up and then just come back on.
Oh, thanks.
Doctors now have the results of Barbara's ECG.
My heart's going a bit fast. OK, sorry, so what do you understand so far, if anything?
I'm just going to phone my brother because he wants to listen in.
OK.
Hi.
Hello.
All right, it was a bad signal, but he's here now, so just listen.
Okay.
Yeah.
OK, so looking at the tracing of the heart, the feeling is that your mum was in what's called atrial fibrillation, which is just a bit of a chaotic electrical rhythm affecting the heart.
Yeah.
And that would explain some of the symptoms that your mum's been having over the last couple of days, which is episodes of dizziness that she describes. So we've given her some medication just to slow the heart rate down.
Right.
So we think that there is probably just a bit of an electrical irregularity.
Yeah.
That's affecting the heart. The plan is your mum will be probably admitted into hospital overnight.
OK.
Given a bit more medication.
Yeah.
And then monitored for a response.
OK, all right, good.
Playing the saxophone is a very physical thing. Parkinson's has affected her breathing. She just didn't have the power anymore. And that's such a shame because one of the things she loves to do most is to play. And she wasn't really able to do that anymore. And it's a tragedy. It was 25 years of a gradual deterioration. It just became too difficult with the touring. And my dad, he could see the toll it was taking on her. It was so hard for him to watch. So he said, right, I've told the band, this is our farewell tour, and this was back in 2014, 2015. This will be like our last professional engagement. Dad felt that her giving up meant him giving up. He didn't want to leave her. He wanted to be there for her. It wasn't even a choice for him. He just felt like his soulmate and the mother of his children had got this diagnosis and he was going to care for her.
I said to Marcus, it was a shame if he lost both his parents.
Well, no, Mum.
Within a year.
Mum, you've still got stuff to do. Your book, Yvette hasn't got enough from you yet on your book. And
I forgot about that.
Well, I don't think you're going to die at the moment, but I might be wrong. But no, it is worrying. I don't want to be left.
My mum, at the same time as her just being an amazing force of nature who never ever gives up, I think what we went through with my dad, it took a terrible toll on her.
Come in. Just catching up on some notes.
Susie is in A&E after her dog bit her on the hand.
So here's your hand here. So these are your metacarpal bones, these are all your carpals, they all look okay.
X-rays have been taken to see if the bones in her hand are broken.
That all looks okay.
Brilliant.
Fab, right.
I was 29 and the Amazon was definitely my first big major adventure. I don't remember feeling scared, just really excited.
What's the commode doing on there?
that's my water bucket.
There were 9 of us in the group and we were going to canoe all the way down the Amazon. We had no plan, it would just take as long as it would take. We had never canoed before. So we'd canoed once in the Basingstoke Canal. So we were a bit bonkers, really, if you think about it.
Are you okay?
I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm an ex-midwife.
How are you? Whereabouts did you work? Did you work here? Or?
No, well, I trained as a midwife here.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. We were going by these ancient maps that were very inaccurate. You just followed the flow of the water, and that's 4,000 kilometres down the river. We were told by so many people that we wouldn't manage it.
Right, here we go. So a little bit of sorry. Yeah, sorry.
We saw river dolphins, giant spiders, and snakes, of course. And the noise, I remember, is non-stop squawking of parrots and insect noises. It was completely alien, and when you're out in the Amazon doing what we were doing, it's like the rest of the world didn't exist at all. So we were in our own world.
So we leave these wounds open because actually, in terms of any germs that the dogs carry, we don't want to trap it.
It's lovely to be in a group of people all aiming for the same thing. It was almost desperation that we would succeed in fulfilling our dream of canoeing the whole length of the Amazon. It was great. We went through so much together. And even now, if I see my Amazon friends, you know, we know what we went through. I think we are very bonded. I was going to do some gardening tomorrow, but I'm not going to do that now.
Pop your feet up instead.
I find that boring. I felt I'd achieved something. I'd achieved something that not many people had done. So, yes, it gave me confidence.
You guys are free to go. It was lovely
Thank
meeting
you.
And I really hope Sydney's okay.
Oh, so do I.
I'm sure, as I say, he's in very good hands and he'll be back with you in no time.
Yeah. I'm actually not bothered about travelling around the world anymore. I feel I ought to actually get to know my own country a little bit. I wouldn't mind getting a camper van, a small one, travel around Britain. Definitely take the dog.
Oh, lovely. Look at the moon. Oh, it's a massive one.
Yeah.
Doctors are giving John medication to treat his high heart rate after he was brought into St George's with a suspected stroke.
John, just for your heart rate, OK, we're going to give you some more beta blocker, some bisoprolol, and what we're also going to do is we give you some magnesium through the drip because that just stabilises the heart muscle a bit, OK? So it's just to try and get your heart rate to slow down.
If you have any chest pain or anything like that, please let me know, OK?
My life's ambition, I'd only ever wanted to fly, but I couldn't get in the RAF because I'm wearing glasses. Eventually, by sheer chance, I met a chap at a pub, and he worked as a flight engineer for commercial airlines, and he told me all about it. And I said, but I would like to be in that, but I can't because I wear glasses. My eyes are... He said, you can be a flight engineer with glasses. Bingo.
So just keep this arm straight, just so that the fluids can go through. Yeah, perfect. That's great.
And that was how I got into flying, as a flight engineer. There are 3 people on the flight deck, the captain, the co-pilot, and the flight engineer, who was me. It's difficult getting used to all the things in hospital.
Yeah. It's not your usual environment.
No. And if you get old and cussed, you know, and a bit fixed in our ways.
John, you're only a young man.
I'm not a young man. I enjoyed being a young man. It was in the mid-60s I started. Flying at the time was the preserve of celebrities and rich travellers. Liz Taylor and Joan Collins, Elton John. Neil Armstrong was a really lovely man. My personal favourite was Olivia Newton-John. I think she's one of the most charming people that I've ever met in my life. She just finished filming Grease, and she came in the flight deck, and I spent a very, very happy hour or so talking to her.
So we should have a report in the next kind of half hour.
From the scale? Oh, that's great. That's really good, quick reading, isn't it?
Yeah.
The flight crew, they were all out to have a good time, and we went on the beach together and we went out together. Everybody had a good time, drank too much wine, ate too much good food. You know, lived a good life. It was absolute fun. It was the proper way to behave as a young person in the 60s. I can actually move my leg now.
That's good, that's good.
I was able to go to New York and Australia, Hawaii. How about Hawaii, you know? And somebody was paying me to do it.
You got...
I felt very bad a couple of hours ago.
Yeah.
Very,
no,
very
definitely,
bad. When I couldn't move and I couldn't get out of the chair and I couldn't do anything to help myself.
Good.
That was feeling pretty bad. Everybody was jealous. Everybody wanted to do the travelling. Everybody wanted to meet the girls. Everybody thought it was glamorous. Yes, I was happy. at the same time. You're tired, you're stressed, you're exhausted. It was unhealthy. And I think some of my problems in later life might have come from that. Anybody got a tissue?
Doctors are awaiting the results of John's CT scan.
Yeah, it looks a little bit of blood.
My throat doesn't work very well. I have trouble eating.
Let's keep an eye on it and let's see what happens. If you already have throat problems and you're coughing a lot, sometimes it can be just a struggle of coughing.
Life was about work hard, play hard. But it wasn't good for you. I'll be okay. I never smoked. I grew up in a family where my parents smoked. Then in the airlines, I was exposed to a lot of it. In my early days, anybody could smoke on the airplane. That got cut back. Passengers weren't allowed to smoke. But unfortunately, some people interpreted it as, well, the flight deck isn't the rest of the airplane, and you'd find that when the cabin crew wanted to smoke or something, they'd come in. Sometimes the odd passenger would be allowed in to have a cigarette. And unfortunately, my seat was at the back. It was a smoky area. So I spent my life surrounded by like...
Are you okay to swallow paracetamol tablets?
I'll have to chew them up. I don't mind doing it. Oh, I don't mind doing it.
Okay.
I can't swallow any tablet. A tablet is too big for the gap in my throat.
Yeah.
Nothing really happened to it until I was 62 years old. I started getting the odd infections and coughing a lot. And then I had a little lump, like a pea, on my throat, right about there. And I went along to the doctor and said, this thing's been there for some months, it hasn't gone away, you know. And I went for MRIs and God knows what, CTs and all that stuff. They told me, sorry, I don't like to have to tell you, but you've got cancer. And of course, throat cancer, virulent, nasty cancer. One at a time, I think. It was just a cold realization. I was horrified, absolutely terrified. I didn't think I was going to make it. But then, I can't tell you why, I can't explain it, but something inside of me said fight. The trouble is, when tablets are meant to be swallowed, they don't make them taste nice. I had major surgery for that, 6.5 hours on the table, losing 1.5 kilos of flesh, some stitches from about there to here and then down. And they started giving me radiotherapy. And it's obviously worked because that was 2005.
Thanks, bye.
Doctors now have the results of John's CT scan.
There is definitely nothing major on this scan. Okay, John, hello.
Yeah. Hello, Sam.
So the stroke team have had a look at the scan, okay, and it looks fine. They can't see anything, and also shows that there's no bleed, which is important. But because of the symptoms, and we think that this probably is a mini stroke, what we're going to do is we'll give you a dose of some blood thinning medication now, okay? We'll carry on just keeping an eye on your heart rate and your blood pressure and everything, and then we'll try and get you up to the ward.
A TIA is what some people call a mini stroke. The main difference between a TIA and a stroke is that in a TIA, the symptoms would completely go away within 24 hours, and you wouldn't see any signs on a CT scan or an MRI.
John will be taken to the stroke ward, where doctors will continue to monitor his condition.
Oh, beep, beep.
Sorry.
I got to 80 when things started going wrong when I was 63, so I'm doing all right. You learn to fly the aeroplane until it hits the ground. As long as it's moving forwards and it's got air under it, you keep on flying it. I have to fly it until it kills me, until I drop.
Are you from Southern Ireland?
Yes.
I was in court for 4 days.
Were you recently?
No, it was about 15 years ago.
Yeah.
I played at the festival there.
Oh, are you a musician?
Yeah.
What do you play?
Saxophone.
Oh my God, amazing. Saxophone's a lovely instrument.
Yes.
Very, very few can play.
That's true, yes.
In 2018, Dad was behaving oddly. He just wasn't himself. They gave him an MRI, and that's when they found a huge tumour in his brain. They said, yeah, we got to get this out of his head.
Barbara, that's amazing. I have to look you up.
Yes.
Dad survived the surgery, and he was about to be discharged from hospital, and I came that morning to see him. And right in front of me, he was having a brain hemorrhage. And he was just about able to stay conscious. And they said, talk to him, he's going to have to go straight into surgery. And I just said, Dad, we love you. And he said, I love you. And that was the last thing he ever said.
Are they going to give you a decent meal, though?
Is there an Indian close by?
It probably is, because we're in Tooting, but I don't know if I can bring Indian in here.
My mum was just so strong and courageous. She lost a husband, she lost a colleague, and yeah, she lost her carer and the person that was giving her real dignity and independence.
I've got some soup and a roll here.
Oh, very good. I'd rather drink it out of the cup.
No, but you'll squash the cup and you'll throw it over your shoulder with your involuntary movement.
I won't.
Let me give you a bit more until it's a bit less in there.
With my dad gone, I basically became her carer. I do feel a real sense of responsibility. It's someone you love. It's someone that you want the best for. The show must go on. That is definitely the family motto. The show must go on.
I didn't expect to come back from the hospital. I've had a lot of scrapes, I've had cancer. Very proud of the fact that I survived. I don't take it casually. I enjoy boats. I have a riverboat that I'm rebuilding at the moment. I want to do it as a vanity project, just for me. I just want to sit in it, sip beer, have a picnic. And anybody who'd like to join me, well, they're welcome.
I'm so proud of what Mum and Dad have achieved, and I feel like I have a bit of a responsibility to keep their legacy going, but at the same time, there's more memories to be made. She wouldn't hang around crying. That's sometimes what I think to myself. It's just like, what would Mum do? You wouldn't see her for dust. She'd be on tour, writing, recording with all the gusto that she could. She's got instruments around her all the time, and if she feels like it, she picks one up and has a blow.